Welcome to this month's episode of The Breeze. I'm here with Tina Thompson and Margie Bruiser. And ladies, when I wear a shirt like this, and you wear a shirt like that, and you're always well dressed, what does that say? Does that say that you get a first impression? Are you trying to create an image?
Well, we're going to be on TV.
Well, I get that, but
No,
you don't wear this on TV.
No,
Come on.
that's true. Well, I think we're deliberate about that, how we look when we go out of our homes.
Mm-hmm.
I think that for me personally, I'm representing a lifestyle. I'm representing myself as a person. Someone may not have a chance to speak with me, but they see me, and that gives a possible lasting impression. Plus, it makes me feel good.
Okay. So it's all about image, I guess, and that's what we want to really explore today is, well, how do we project that, and what are some of the difficulties we have run into as so-called seasoned citizens here at Sun City, both inside and outside the gates, and what we do about it. I think one of the issues is that people, when they retire or when they move to a different geographical location to enjoy their later years, they come with a certain expectation or a certain desire to do things, and sometimes that interferes with what I would call a successful retirement and creates a bad image. What do you think?
Well, I was just thinking when you were speaking just now, it's about a license to be. And that by definition, that be may be something that is unrealized or something that's purposeful. And by that I mean, now that I'm in this environment, I can dress and be whatever I want, and I don't have to please anybody but myself. But I think there's an accountability when you say you're from a community like ours, because many times, people will somehow know that you're from Sun City, that they have a certain impression or expectation of what the people are like.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that we have an accountability to have a positive impression inside the gates and outside the gates.
I've never taken it that seriously in terms of being a representative of Sun City. It's more like, am I happy with myself if I'm going out today? It's more, I guess, of a self-perceived take on what somebody might think. I don't feel the need to represent Sun City. Hopefully I do most times, but it isn't part of my conscious thinking.
I guess because I'm in retail and I'm in an environment where I'm constantly meeting tourists and other people.
Mm-hmm.
I feel for myself that I want them to have a good impression of not only who I am, but where I'm from. A lot of people know our community, and we have an imprint in this area.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, do you ever run into situations where, the typical conversation starter is, where are you from? And you say, Sun City, and they go, Do you ever get that?
A bunch of old people out there. And you want to say, well, you just come out and take a look. You'll be very, very surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But, on the other hand, you've got people who don't seem to care about how they present themselves. I don't necessarily think you have to represent the community. You just have to have self-respect for yourself. But I call it that some people think of retirement as quitting.
Mm-hmm.
They're quitting, trying to appear respectable. They don't care if they're rude. They quit. And they don't care who gets in their way. They're just not going to be the way they used to be, if they ever were.
Yeah.
A different spin on that, too.
Please.
My mother taught me, when you go out, you should always look nice and be presentable. You know, if I was even in college, I was always matching. If I had on a blue pair of jeans, I had something that complemented that. That's how I was brought up. Because she says you never know who you're going to meet. And that person may be your next job, your next spouse, your next friend, and that impression has value. So because of that, I'm always aware, even if I have on cut-off shorts, that I want to look a certain way.
Well, you do look a certain way in cutoff.
I'm not so sure that everybody that moves here really cares. Some may have been dragged here by a spouse. And I think that if they haven't come from what I call kind of an upper scale place where you meet the people who are generally happy and retired and have a lot to talk about their past and dress well. I don't even know what well is now. Maybe it's just covering your chest, you know? But I think we have such a mix of people here that some are going to bring along with them, obviously, any bad habits, any way of dress, any grumpiness that they had before. They don't come into these gates and suddenly there's a changed, reformed person. And I think that there have to be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of those. So it's up to us to determine how we relate to them.
I think they have to be motivated too by the environment, because maybe they have some new friends that, you know, have invited them to dinner and they're not sure what's acceptable. And part of the terms down here being in fashion is island casual, you know, which has a certain definition as to, you know, something not
Sort of a loose definition, but a definition.
Yeah, but it's a definition. There's
Yeah.
an expectation, you know, like the island shirt or what have you, with some nice shorts, not necessarily jean shorts. For women, maybe soft dressing versus suits or suited dressing. Soft dressing could be something like a gauze top or something like that with a little color, with earrings, whatever, a little fashion. Because I think people like to look at people who look nice.
Well,
I think you had an experience where you were somewhere and at dinner or something, and somebody came in looking kind of tacky.
oh yeah, I mean, you know, when you're sitting there at a local restaurant, which shall remain unnamed, and you're sitting there with a, you know, maybe yourself and your spouse or a couple with you, and some guy comes in with a sweaty, cut off the sleeves shirt and gym shorts and sits down next to you, that's just not a great experience.
And are they from Sun City? No.
Well, in this case, the answer is yes, but not
Yeah,
and
right.
That's another issue.
Yeah.
You know, not all people that do that are from some Sun
Well,
City.
that's it. And a person like that is probably a tourist who left all his proper clothes at home and it's just going out having fun.
You're being
they're
kind.
who they aren't at home.
You're
Yeah, being kind as usual,
And,
Margie.
well, but that's a vacation. I would do that. If I were going somewhere on vacation, I probably wouldn't put makeup on like I do when I'm back home. There may be
Again,
times.
you never know who you're going to see, though.
Well, you know, and then that will affect how I treat you, probably.
Because I don't have my makeup on.
Well, yeah.
Well, I think
No,
you may,
but if you are not interested in presenting your best self, let's put it that way, because you're on vacation. We're not on vacation. We are on vacation.
In a way, our lifestyle.
365, 24/7.
Yeah.
But that does affect how you get treated. If you are not presenting your best self, I would posit that it affects how you're treated.
well, I expect that's true, but do I care?
Well, I don't know.
You know, I mean, it's kind of like.
I think people care very little what I think.
But you
I
know, when you
just-
say your best self, if I can interrupt here, it's also internal as well as external. You know, that best self may be a smile when you're feeling like crap. You know, you just came from the dentist, and I have that experience tomorrow where I might have to get a root canal and a crown, $3K later. I'm not happy if I have to do that, but it's part of life. So, you know, I can either wallow in it or I can be positive and say, okay, I'm going to get myself a nice bottle of wine and not think about it.
Well, there you go. Now, do you ever go out of your way? Let's flip the coin. Do you ever go out of your way to affect someone in a particular way by your demeanor, your men, your whatever?
Your persona, yeah.
I can't think of an instance except one I've shared before, where it was the use of the phones during lunch, and families were sitting around outside dining, and they were all on their phones except for one table. Mm-hmm. And the parents were actually talking with their 3 little kids, and nobody had an iPhone on the table. And it was so noticeable that my friend and I commended them for that. Mm-hmm. Now, that probably has nothing to do at all with Sun City, but I'm just saying that people will bring their habits with them, and they don't expect to upgrade their habits when they come here. They want to be footloose and fancy-free for the most part.
I would take the other side of that a little bit. They don't want to be footloose and fancy-free necessarily. They just refuse to adapt their attitude to their new situation. And they are basically, in many cases, putting that in your face and saying, like it, or get out of my way, or whatever.
That's quite all right.
Now, I had a
That's
situation.
their business. I don't have an issue with that. I mean,
I do.
I can tell. I guess I don't have that nerve that it hits.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Remember, she's a social worker, so
Yeah, I know.
Well, I'm trying to see both sides here, but you're wrong anyway.
So.
No, but
You're wrong.
I mean, I go out presentable all the time, and I would be proud to say I am in Sun City. I wouldn't go out in something draggy that people would say, ooh, she's sleeping on the street. But I really think that we have to just be patient and overlook. We're not going to change them. And we get frustrated, we walk away, we go to another table.
Why do we have the onus of having to overlook others' bad behavior?
Well, that's their behavior. I wouldn't want anybody overlooking mine and giving me insults as a result.
Mm.
Well, you have a choice in that equation, too. You could decide that if they offend you by, their dress or demeanor or whatever, distance yourself from that person,
Well, I get that. And I don't insult them for their behavior. I just, log it, so to speak.
You pause them and then you cancel them.
I don't pause them. I never even
They never were
engage them.
accepted,
Yeah.
But is it more the people that you meet here on site? Maybe a grumpiness or inappropriately dressed? Because I don't care about those out in the community at all. Mm-hmm. Would you change a table to another table if you had a bunch of, here they come right off the beach?
No, I wouldn't necessarily. But we are talking about Sun City residents, in effect, and the image we project.
Yes, that's
And,
correct.
It's impossible to predict what will happen when you move to a situation like this. You get oriented, you choose your activities, but there's an attitude adjustment, it seems to me, that has to occur when you come down here. And that you're not going to be the same person you were. If you were very assertive, take charge, nobody.
Yeah, I know what you want to say. The explicative, yeah.
So, in any event, I got to say that if you're unhappy at some place, this is not a geographical fix. You're going to be unhappy here.
Yes,
But
yes.
don't bring that unhappiness to everyone else.
I had a situation where normally when I go out, my girlfriend, my road dog, and we normally dress nicely. It's like we don't even have to talk about it. I have an expectation she's going to look a certain way. Well, we had this other friend that we, kind of started hanging out with, and she would always, God rest her soul, she's gone now, but she always wore like a bandana. And we had gone to something like a play or something, and this woman still had on a bandana. And we're going like, oh, hell no. We're going to have to say something to her about her attire because it wasn't acceptable. Mm-hmm. And so, sometimes you have to step out there. I liked her as a person, but, that just...
Here at Extra, we're saying goodbye for the summer. Our Sun City TV studio is shutting down while Pinckney Hall gets a new look.
Well, before we become beach bums, we've got stories to share.
See the Staying Connected Gala and Earth Day events.
And check out our SCTV visitors.
Remember, all our shows are available on youtube.com/SCTV station.
Signing out for the summer. Enjoy!
very interesting. This book is divided roughly into 3 segments. They're all related, but it's how shrimping came to South Carolina. And then once it got here, it started in Beaufort County. Once it got here, how it spread within the county. So it all started down in Fernandina, Florida. In Fernandina, Florida, there's 2 men of particular island, New York. They communicated. Eventually, they figured out there's a lot of people buying fish up here, but they don't have any shrimp. So they eventually started shrimping, and there's a whole lot more to the story of this, but I got to keep moving through it. So it developed into an industry. They, to give you an example, by 1913, they shipped 19 train car loads of shrimp from Fernandina to the New York City Fulton Fish Market. 19 train car loads. That's like 40,000 pounds in a train car. So first they did it, they had to give the shrimp away. People up there didn't eat shrimp. They ate lobster, they ate cod, they ate all these other things. The shrimp were not that well known, and there were a lot of them.
Well, you're focusing on attire a lot today, and you know the makeup and or lack thereof, Margie.
And you comb your hair and everything else, so there are things that men do too.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. But I'm talking about a way of presentation that it gives a bad impression of you to others, and necessarily, if they know you're from Sun City, then creates a bad image of Sun City. But it's not your responsibility, but that's just the way it works.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, and it's not all about how you present yourself. It's how much you tip, what your manners are in a restaurant.
True enough.
And we and the wait staff might assume they're from Sun City. So a lot of times, that kind of perception may be misplaced. And because there's a group of 8 and they all want the 2-for-1 and separate checks,
yeah.
and our poor tippers, they may say, oh, they must be from Sun City. So they are making a statement about something that might not even actually be true, but suddenly Sun City has a reputation in that restaurant of being bad tippers.
So you think that that particular reputation still exists?
Oh, sure.
You do?
Yeah.
Any other examples we can pursue here?
Well, the entitlement thing, just, the issue of feeling that, I come first because of who I am and where I'm from.
Okay. And
that's out there too. But I'm very careful about when I engage people in the store saying that I'm from Sun City, because typically I know that 705 number is Sun City. 707 for some of the later residents. And I know usually that they're from Sun City. So I have an opportunity, depending upon the conversation that I've had with them, to say, oh, is that Sun City? Oh, and I happen to live there. Sometimes I choose not to do that because
are you talking about landlines?
Yeah, landlines. Yep.
I didn't even know there were any landlines.
Yeah, they still exist. I still have one.
Well, I guess that's to make your elevator work too. You got to have a landline.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
But somebody who was grumpy in Virginia and moved here is probably going to be grumpy here. We have to kind of isolate. That is who they are. Mm-hmm. And we can't expect them to go through a grooming class here, and we don't have that kind of a service.
Sun City 101.
Well, yeah, this is what you ought to be doing, or you're going to embarrass us. People should be able to just live their life the way they want to dress. As long as it's not nasty or vulgar, then I think, somebody has to, wouldn't be me, step in. But I think we worry about that too much. To me, it takes the joy out of it, that we have to be worried about others who are not presenting themselves like we wish they would, so that Sun City real appeal can be real and people recognize, you must be from Sun City, you look great. What do you mean you're 75?
Yeah.
Yeah. Give it a little commercial.
Well, on the flip side again, I don't want to get tarred by their behavior.
You're tired?
I'm tired of it. No, tarred and feathered, if you will. In other words, if I know someone's from Sun City and they are acting out or doing something that I consider rude or out of place, and then the next person up is me and they know I'm from Sun City, I'm going to get tarred with that same paintbrush.
Well, you have to be ready to say, hey, hi, I'm Doug. I don't agree with them either, but I'm glad to meet you.
And I want to be clear that I don't feel that I have taken a responsibility for Sun City. I want to make that clear.
Okay.
But in my environment, in the places where I can impact, then I will do that.
Well, okay. Okay, I don't know how to answer that. Well, when we talked before about, what is a successful retirement? And to me, a successful retirement is reaching a level of striving to achieve your best or better self and to enjoy what you've got and not be unhappy about what others have or what you don't have. And I think a lot of people down here are still very competitive in terms of better cars, better golf carts. I'm a better bocce player than you are. And that sort of is an image that I get from living here. And that has to do with, I think, an attitude that they carry over from their prior life.
Sure.
Possibly, yeah. You're more involved in the athletic side, obviously. You're the sports director, commentator.
Anchor.
Thank you.
Thank you very
One of
much.
those words, and other words too. But
Yeah.
but anyway, I think that your surroundings dictate that, because that would be a turnoff for me if somebody was to take charge. And sometimes I would turn around and make that an advantage.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think it does tell me sometimes, look, pal, you haven't done anything in 70 years, and now you're trying to tell me that you're better than me for the remaining years of your life. And it's a turnoff. And I don't know if that's common or if I just notice it in some very few people. But, it's like driving like a maniac when you're around here in retirement. They say, where are you going so fast? You haven't gone anywhere in 70 years.
That's a good one.
So
Usually he has to go to the bathroom.
yeah, you're hustling home to go to the bathroom. Yeah, I get it. But, I mean, the deal is that it really is off-putting, and nobody wants to be off-put. Everybody wants to be relaxed and content and happy.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And to the extent that that doesn't happen, and sometimes it's your fault, but oftentimes it's an attitude.
It is. And all we can do is control our own, after all.
No, that's true.
Just make sure that it's even or even above value, and they might think, oh boy, he's really got things going for here. And maybe this is the way that someone lived before they came here, so we can't just turn a switch.
Do you think that people on the street would have an opinion?
Well, they might. We'll check that out for sure. And in any event, I will say this in summary and summing up. Well, you know my position on this. I mean, I feel pretty strongly that
Yes.
the image is there whether we like it or not.
Yeah, definitely.
It's something that we have to deal with, and you can deal with it in a positive way or not.
Or we could leave a larger tip if we know that the people that just
Said
left-
another way.
Yeah.
And I think we, can be more conscious about those kinds of things and more sensitive to it. Because, we are a growing community and we want to welcome people and we want people to feel welcomed.
Well, that's absolutely correct. And I will tell you, we will probably continue some of this discussion next month, but I think it's been a good examination of some of the things we can do here that, it's a pretty darn good life.
Yes,
It's a resort
excellent.
all year, 24/7. And if you choose not to take advantage, fine. But don't impose your lack of happiness or lack of involvement or attitude on me in particular.
Don't worry, be happy.
Maybe. Margie, any final thoughts?
No. we'll just lead the pack and do the right thing, and maybe they'll learn from us.
Well, that could be. I don't know, but in any event, I will say this: we've had a good discussion. We look forward to a great summer. We're going to be doing more things off-site while the studio gets renovated here at Sun City TV, and we look forward to seeing you all again next month when we again shoot the breeze.